Hello, and welcome to this week's edition of Whether or Not. I'm your host, Caroline Castora, joined by my co-host for the week, Jimmy Wendolek. We have an exciting show for you this week where Dana Osgood will be forecasting and Bryan, Michigan has a feature on ice jams.
Excited to see the forecast for the first weekend of March, but first we have to get through Nature in the News. What stories do you have for us this week?
This week, I have stories about the recent IPCC climate change report and how artificial intelligence is helping out farmers in the UK. What about you, Jimmy?
This week I have stories about the smell of snow and a newly discovered worm species with a very familiar name. And with that, let's get into Nature in the News.
The UN Intergovernmental Panel on Climate Change released a new report this week providing insight into the causes, impacts, and solutions to climate change. Here are 5 main takeaways. According to the report, things are way worse than we thought. Things like glacial melting and coral reefs dying are occurring at the high end of what modelers initially thought. The report states that 40% of the world's population is highly vulnerable to the impacts of climate change. The second point was the loss and damage gets scientific backing. The third point is that technology is not a silver bullet and that some things designed to reduce CO2 emissions might be making things worse. The fourth point was that cities offer hope and opportunity to avoid some of the worst impacts of climate change. For instance, cities can promote greener public transportation options and renewable energy sources smaller towns cannot. The fifth and final point is that the small window of opportunity to act now is closing fast. But acting now calls for many people to take action. The head of the UN Environmental Program said, "Nature can be our savior, but only if we save it first," which leaves us with a lot to think about.
Springtime is filled with the smell of newly blooming flowers, and in the summer, people love the smell of the beach. But what scent defines the winter months? Cold and dry conditions make for a poor odor environment, but snow has a scent, and it appears to be getting stronger. The scent of snow can give scientists a glimpse into the makeup of the surrounding environment. A layer of snow on the ground absorbs components from the surrounding atmosphere, leading to the scent. Additionally, particles on the ground often get pulled up into the air, meaning that the smell of snow can also help us understand the soil underneath. Warmer weather and higher humidity helps to increase the circulation and intensity of odor molecules. This is why many people can easily point out the smell of rain after a summertime thunderstorm. So, as our climate continues to warm, the scent of snow will continue to become more amplified.
A British startup has developed an algorithm that uses artificial intelligence to help predict what the surface looks like under cloudy skies. The UK is prone to chronically cloudy skies, so this technology is being targeted towards farmers in the agricultural sector so that they can manage their crops better. The company, Aspia Space, produces synthetic images of fields in a variety of weather conditions. By doing so, farmers can see where to sow seed or apply fertilizer. The algorithm relies on 2 types of satellites, the European Union Sentinel-1 and 2. Sentinel-1 uses radar to map the ground, which is possible in darkness and cloud cover. However, the data is hard to interpret. The artificial intelligence and algorithm interpret this data and return synthetic images, which is much easier to view. This AI could have groundbreaking applications meteorologically for reasons like flood mapping. This could also apply to see how climate change is affecting terrain and topography. It will be exciting to see how this AI will evolve.
Humans normally don't pay attention to the naming of new worm species, but this new flatworm was given a special name to reflect the time that it was discovered. The name Humbertium covidium was given to the species of flatworm, giving a nod to COVID-19. Scientists decided on this name as the entirety of the research project occurred during the pandemic, and much like the disease that it is named after, this worm has some very bad side effects. Flatworms feed on small soil dwellers, hurting the biodiversity of the soil. A study from 2012 stated that flatworms killed 20% of the earthworm population in the United Kingdom and Ireland. The new species is only about an inch long with a metallic-looking head and is currently only found in France and Italy. But scientists are worried that it could spread through the plant trade and cause chaos in other parts of the globe.
Well, meteorological spring has sprung here in State College, but the warmer weather is going to come with a price. But we don't see that warmer weather coming in yet on Friday. So Friday, we have this large high pressure stationed over right here in the Commonwealth. However, this high came down from Canada, which highs that originate there tend to bring in a lot of cooler air, though not as cold as we have been seeing over the past couple of weeks here in February. However, it is going to be chillier on Friday than it is later in the week. However, this high is going to keep us relatively dry, so skies will be mostly clear and sunny skies to see. Now on Saturday, this high begins to move out of our area. We do have some clouds building in anticipation of this warm front that's coming through the Ohio Valley. So as we move into Sunday, now this here is just a snapshot in time. So all of these areas in the northeast are going to see some precipitation throughout the day on Sunday. But in particular, in front of the warm front, it goes snow, then mixed precipitation, and then rain. Now, it's going to be much too warm here in the Commonwealth for any sort of mixed precipitation, so this is going to be a fully rain event for us here. Then we do have mild conditions coming in as well, and then more rain comes in behind the cold front as well. Now, to summarize here, we start off Friday with mostly seasonable conditions with increasing clouds throughout the night, with a low that's pretty average for this time of year. And as we move into the day on Saturday, temperatures do start to rise a little bit with overcast skies, though rain from that warm front starts overnight here on Saturday. And as we move into the day on Sunday, take a look at that, a high of 67 degrees. That is much warmer than we're used to for this time of year and much higher than average, though the warmer weather does come with a price considering it's going to be raining all day. And now your feature on ice jams is up next.
Throughout the winter season, the constant battle between freeze and thaw has a major impact on the ice that builds up in waterways. This collection of ice, when subject to a flowing current, has the ability to get jammed along certain areas of rivers, causing what is known as ice jams. Ice jams are pieces of floating ice carried by a current of water which gets jammed and accumulates around obstacles in the stream's flow, much like how beaver dams or human-made dams work.
It occurs when a river becomes almost completely constricted by ice throughout the channel width, basically, and blocks the flow of water through the normal river channel for the most part. It can really function very much like a man-made dam.
Ice jams come in two separate types. The first and most common is called breakup jams. They occur during the late winter and early spring months. These jams are the cause of most damage and flooding that occurs in riverside communities, resulting in evacuations along with heavy property damages. These jams form when temperatures rise, allowing for the melting of snow to increase runoff into a body of water, which increases the flow of the river. This increased flow pushes against that ice that has accumulated on the river and breaks it into chunks, sending it downstream. The second type is called freeze-up jams, and these typically occur early on in the winter season when extremely cold air quickly freezes a body of water, resulting in a large production of ice which gets jammed downstream. Ice jams may not look like the most intimidating natural phenomena, but they are responsible for loss of life and substantial property damages totaling about $125 million per year. This powerful mass of ice has enough force to be able to completely lift houses off their foundations and level outside structures like docks, decks, and sheds.
So ice jams can really result in flooding along the river channel, just like any normal river flood situation going to happen. Tends to not be quite as broad an area as a larger stem river flood might happen, but it can impact structures and it can result in evacuation.
When it comes to forecasting the ideal conditions for ice formation, meteorologists have a pretty good handle on what must all come together. That being, extreme cold snaps and temperatures, followed by a quick warm-up, is crucial when it comes to forming these events. However, one challenge still remains, which is figuring out when exactly ice will be breaking up and moving downstream to cause these jams.
So we can have a general idea that the conditions are ripe that the ice is going to be moving, but knowing where that ice is going to be moving, what the river impacts are going to be from that ice movement. We really don't have a good way of modeling that sort of information. So it becomes a real challenge for us trying to get accurate forecasts of what's going to be happening.
Not only that, but with the effects of climate change only becoming more and more impactful, it will be difficult to determine the future of these ice jam scenarios and what kinds of effects it will have on the environment and communities residing near rivers. With the warming of our climate, it is possible that future cold snaps will not be as drastic, but when it comes to ice jams, only a small amount of ice and significant runoff is all you need to create problems. In the years to come, it will be interesting to see how scientists adapt to our changing climate to figure out how to break through these jams. Reporting from Whether or Not, I'm Brian, Michigan.
Now, I mentioned that meteorological spring has sprung here in central Pennsylvania. However, are our temperatures going to reflect that? We'll take a look at our extended forecast in just a minute, but first we want to recap our weekend. So we started off on Friday with a pretty standard day for this time of year in central Pennsylvania. Temperatures about average with calm and cloudy conditions. Clouds build throughout the night, bringing us into Saturday, where rain showers begin late in the day with temperatures starting to rise a little bit. And now our main spotlight is on Sunday with a large storm system moving through, and take a look at that, a high of 67. That's much warmer than we're used to for this time of year and is really helping me get into the spring spirit. However, the rain not helping out so much. Now for our extended forecast, we'll see if it gets us in the spring spirit as well. So we start off with Monday with some residual showers in the morning and early afternoon from the system on Sunday. Temperatures dip as we move into Tuesday with some residual cloud cover from Tuesday through Thursday. Temperatures rising steadily throughout the week until we get to Friday, where there is a chance for another storm system moving through. However, because of the temperature, it is going to be a rain event here in central Pennsylvania, though there is a chance for some spotty snow showers up north. And next up is your Whiz Quiz question answer.
Here's your whiz quiz question. What is the last day of meteorological winter? Is it A, March 1st, B, March 14th, C, February 23rd, or D, February 28th?
And the correct answer is D, February 28th. Amazing to think that we're already into spring, but I'm definitely ready for some warmer weather. How about you?
Yeah, I'm so excited to go home next week for spring break and not have to worry about bringing my winter coat with me everywhere I go.
Absolutely. And that's all we have for this week's episode of Whether or Not. Thank you all for tuning in and hope to see you again next week. But until then, I'm Jimmy.
And I'm Caroline. Have a great day.